North Carolina gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson denies reports that he called himself a black Nazi while he was on porn sites. Tyrone Bowman live. Welcome to the program on this evening. Want to have a video from MSNBC that I'm going to be talking about. Then I have a news article that will reflect the same as well. It seems like North Carolina Republican gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson is in a lot of serious trouble. So before I even get into the actual article, listen to this reporting here, and then I'm going to come and I will give my personal commentary.
Bombshell doesn't seem like the right word. A crazy piece of reporting has just dropped, and it's led to calls for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson to drop out of the race before this story even broke. People have known about it all day, and now we have it. Now we know what it says. The reporting is from CNN. It has not at this point been independently verified by NBC News, but it says that Robinson made dozens of very disturbing comments on a porn site between 2008 and 2012 before he entered politics. The comments include Robinson, the current lieutenant governor, proclaiming that he is, quote, a black Nazi, and saying he, quote, wishes they would bring slavery back. I would buy a few, end quote. CNN also reports this, quote, the comments were made under a username that CNN was able to identify as Robinson's by matching a litany of biographical details in a shared email address. Many of Robinson's comments were gratuitously sexual and lewd in nature. He reportedly describes himself as a, quote, perv, and describes peeping on women in public gym showers. Now, even ahead of the story breaking, he issued a robust denial of the story and responded this afternoon ahead of it by posting this video.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. Instead, they want to focus on salacious tabloid lies. We're not going to let them do that. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it.
So, lots of layers here, right? The sex stuff, which is too lewd to read to you, exceeds my skill set as a cable news anchor. But given how important North Carolina is and where the polls are right now at the top of the ticket, the national presidential level, and given how central it is to both candidates' path to the White House, it's significant that last thing that he says there, that he's, quote, not dropping out of the race. And this isn't his first scandal, right? He's someone who says, quote, some people need killing. He's trashed the civil rights movement. And Trump describes him this way as MLK on steroids. That's a quote. Deadline to drop out is midnight. TikTok. We're back with Cornell, Michael, and Alicia. Michael Steele, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so this was the line? This was the line. Republicans, this was the line you're drawing now, where the Trump campaign and the North Carolina Republican Party is like, oh, he got to go. This is the line? The porn site and the black Nazi stuff, that was the line. So the killing people wasn't a problem. All the other stuff he said before now wasn't a problem, is you embraced this man and raised him above your head and say, he is us. Well, he is you, North Carolina Republicans. This is who you nominated. You knew all this stuff about him. We got videos going back years on this boy, on this man. Give me a break. And so here's the rub. The numbers in North Carolina show that the Democratic nominee for president has not only spanked Donald Trump on the debate stage, but is spanking Republicans in the state of North Carolina. And that race has tightened up to the point where she now has strong leads in areas they didn't think would be possible. So that's why the GOP and the Trump campaign are now throwing this stuff up here saying he's got to go. He's got to go. So this is your line. And this is only your line because you're losing the state. Because otherwise, you'd be perfectly fine with all of this because you were fine with it before the poll numbers started going against you.
Yeah.
That's how cynical and corrupt this process has become for Republicans.
Please don't say spank again. Cornell, let me show you, because I think this is my question editorially all day. What could be on the tapes? Because this makes Mastriano look like a statesman, right? I mean, this makes the worst MAGA candidates of the last cycle truly look normal. Let me show you what was on the other side of the line, what did not lead to calls to resign. Here's Robinson saying, quote, "Some people need killing."
We now find ourselves struggling with people who have evil intents. You know, there's a time when we used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it.
Let me show you more. This is someone importantly, back to the presidential race, that Donald Trump, let me show you what Donald Trump thinks of this man.
Do you want to watch movies for free? Here you can find all the movies.
Want fuller and thicker hair in 3 to 6 months?
Oh,
You've
this
got to
is
use
ridiculous.
prescription hair loss spray. This bad boy can...
This is Martin Luther King.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is Trump talking.
On steroids. Okay, now I told that to Mark.
I want to get
I
this.
said,
It's time for somebody to say it.
Let me show you more. This is someone importantly, back to the presidential race, that Donald Trump, let me show you what Donald Trump thinks of this man.
this is Martin Luther King on steroids. Okay, now I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King ×2.
So Donald Trump thinks this man is Martin Luther King ×2. This is what he says. I'm going to read it to you about the civil rights movement. Quote, this is Mark Robinson again. Take a look at the so-called civil rights movement of the 60s, how the socialists, how the communists use that to manipulate people in this country, how they use it to subvert capitalism, and how they use it to subvert free choice and where you go to school and things like that. You look at what they did with it. I mean, it's amazing that people can't see it. I mean, so many things were lost during the civil rights movement. So many freedoms were lost during the civil rights movement that shouldn't have been lost. You know, an absolute backward view of history, Cornell, but that wasn't on.
We're going to stop that right there. Are you trying to get us to believe that the Republicans down in North Carolina, the only candidate you could choose to go up against the Democrat was Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson? And you all knew his past. You all knew the salacious, hellish, perverted things that this man was and has been involved in. But it didn't stop you all from choosing him as your candidate. Now let's deal with Donald Trump. Donald Trump had a nerve to say that Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Mark Robinson, is, quote, Martin Luther King on steroids ×2, close quote. Are you serious? Comparing this loudmouth, obese, fat, out-of-shape, grotesque man to the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated on April 4th in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was in town to lead the sanitation workers' march, the prelude to the Poor People's Campaign on the March on Washington that was going to take place. There's no way in the world there should be any comparison with Robinson and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man of peace, grace, love, mercy, compassion. He wasn't just a civil rights activist. He was a man of the cloth, an eloquent and prolific writer. And he was an awesome preacher as well. Mark Robinson got caught. That's the problem. The name of the game is just don't get caught. Now, I found an article that I'm going to start reading. I just had it. Let me get back there. And the article is from NBC News. The headline reads, Mark Robinson vows to stay in North Carolina governor race after reports of inflammatory comments on porn site. Robinson denied the CNN report, which stated that he referred to himself as a, quote, black Nazi, and expressed support for bringing back slavery more than 10 years ago. These are his words. This is a black man who a long time ago deserted his people. And he has a nerve to talk about the civil rights movement. If it hadn't been for the civil rights movement, his fat self would not even be in the gubernatorial conversation. And the only reason why the Republicans agreed to put him up front and to back him financially is because he idealizes them and he espouses all of the verbiage, the political and personal verbiage against any and everyone. This is the same man who calls himself a Christian, yet he hates everybody. This is the same man who advocated at a rally for murdering people, saying some people need to be killed. So according to the article from NBC News, Mark Robinson, the Republican candidate for governor in North Carolina, vowed Thursday to remain in the race following a report that he made dozens of lewd and inflammatory comments more than 10 years ago on the message board of a pornography website. He's the one who made the comments. Nobody put them there. These are not spurious accusations. As they say, the left or leftists. So what? Y'all are rightist. We have a right to stand up for justice, equality, and freedom. We have a right to stand for those who cannot stand for themselves and fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. It's a darn shame how the Republican Party was once the party of Lincoln a long time ago. But that party is now dead. This is the party of MAGA-ism. This is the party, and this is the part that gets me about Mark Robinson. He's against, as so Trump and all these people say, against LGBTQ rights. Do you know how many gay Republicans you have that are afraid to come to the forefront? Some are senators. One is a major U.S. sitting senator. Some are congressmen and congresswomen, but yet they are constantly attacking gay people. And you have a lot of gay Republicans. They're called log cabins. They have been there for a very long time. So when they hear comments like that, they sit back and laugh because they know it's political verbiage and garbage. According to the report published by CNN said Robinson, in post to a pornographic website called, quote, Nude Africa, close quote, called himself a black Nazi. Let me stop right there. If these words are true and they've got the video and or the audio to prove it, to compare yourself to Hitler and call yourself a black Nazi, that is not only a slap in the face to my Jewish brothers and sisters, that is a damnable, hellish mindset to have. Nobody cares about your size, overbearing size. You grotesquely overweight and out of shape. It's called Weight Watchers. Jenny Craig. It's called diet. He's a bully. And that's the reason why now Trump and his people, they want him out of the race because he's bad business. He's not good for the Trump image. He's not good for the Trump brand. It's okay for Trump and J.D. Vance to talk about black immigrants eating dogs and cats and rats and mice. But this kind of stuff, because they know the backlash that they're going to get. And the backlash will be horrendous. He needs to drop out of the race. Just like y'all demanded that Biden step aside, you need to demand forcefully that Robinson step aside. So he called himself a black Nazi, expressed support for bringing back slavery, said he enjoyed watching transgender pornography, and recounted sexual graphic stories, including one about his memory of peeping on women in gym showers when he was 14. The post made under the username Minisold or Soldier were made from 2008 to 2012. CNN reported before Robinson, who was elected lieutenant governor in 2020, entered politics. Really? You knew this trash and this garbage was out there, and you knew it was going to surface at some point in time, and that's why you're trying to get ahead of the story. But don't you know that you're not going to get ahead of the story? You're going to be hounded by these things. In a video posted to X ahead of the story's publication, Robinson denied the CNN report, calling it tabloid trash. No, it's not tabloid trash. It's reporting. And you got a nerve to compare yourself to Clarence Thomas. I don't like Clarence Thomas. No, this is not a, quote, high-tech lynching. What he did to Clarence Thomas during that time, it was apropos and appropriate for him to say. But you, sir, no one, this is not a high-tech lynching for you. You got caught. You're down in the polls. You're going to lose in November. And because of you, the surge for Kamala Harris is at an all-time high down in North Carolina. Quote, this is what the bloviated Robinson said. Let me assure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words. You know my character. And you know that I have been completely transparent in this race. And before Robinson said in the video, end quote, that's a lie. Because you didn't talk about the abortion that you made your now wife have. And you're supposed to be against abortion, but you made her have an abortion. You liar. You're a hypocrite. You're a deceiver. We are staying in this race and we're in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will be at it. The report marked the latest blow to Republicans in the critical battleground state race where Robinson, who is backed by former President Donald Trump, has struggled against Democratic candidate John Stein in a state where the presidential race is competitive. Robinson spokesperson Michael Lunargan added in an email after the report published that the Democrats say about Mark Robinson is either an outright lie or twisted so far out of context that might as well be. Oh, really? Just like the things that people say that Trump and Vance said, y'all say that's a lie too. You say that's taken out of context. No, it's not taken out of context. Those are real things. The people of North Carolina have had enough lies from career politicians like Josh Steen, and that's why they'll elect Mark Robinson governor on November. No, they're not going to elect him governor. You can try to spin it any way that you want to. He has already lost the gubernatorial race. He will not win. Trump's spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said the former president is focused on winning the White House and saving this country in a statement. Oh, please, man. What kind of statement is that? North Carolina is a vital part of that plan. We are confident as voters compare the Trump record of a strong economy, low inflation, a secure border, and safe streets. Let's get it straight. The economy is doing fine. The border problem, Trump created the border problem because he didn't fix it when he was in office. You can spin it, you can stick to your talking points. He created the border problem. He said he was going to build a wall. He didn't get it done. He deported black people. That's what he did. He let white people stay here, and he deported black people en masse and sent them back to their war-torn countries, faced with poverty. That's what he did. The failures of Biden, Harris, then President Trump will win the Tar Heel state once again. He's not going to win it. Another Trump campaign advisor denied reports that the campaign had pushed Robinson to leave the race. Yes, he did. That's absolutely inaccurate. Brian Hughes, a senior Trump campaign advisor, said when asked about those records, fake news, fake news, fake news. That's all he says. Fake news is all fake news. It's real news, real news, real news, real news. Everything with them is fake. They disagree with somebody, it's got to be fake. Didn't happen. Trump and the Trump campaign have had no pushing or anything else inaccurate. Some Republican lawmakers expressed concern over Robinson's reported comments. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, big mouth, where have you been at? A Trump ally told reporters at the Capitol Hill on Thursday that she hadn't read the whole story about Robinson, but that if that all turns out to be true, that it would certainly be something that I definitely couldn't support. Yeah, whatever, woman. Y'all always don't read stuff. Y'all have more access to everything than anybody and don't read anything. My hope is that the lieutenant governor can assure the people of North Carolina that the allegations are untrue. Asked if he felt Republican that Robinson should exit the race, Hudson replied he needs to have the opportunity to explain to the people of North Carolina exactly how these allegations aren't true. Meanwhile, Democrats quickly criticized Robinson as unfit to serve as governor. Get out of the race. You're unfit. Representative Jeff Jackson, Democrat from North Carolina, told reporters that what I just read made me sick to my stomach. If he drops out of the race, it helps the state of North Carolina, added Jackson, who is running to be the state's next attorney general. In a statement, Izzy Levy, a spokesperson for the Democratic Governors Association, called the CNN report the latest proof that Robinson is unhinged, dangerous, and completely unfit to be governor. She added, now as many Republicans warn against the damage Robinson would do as governor, it's clear that the stakes have never been higher and we must keep our foot on the gas to defeat him in November. Robinson, you're toast, you're finished, you're out of here. Never surrender, never quit.